Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a wild, mind-bending journey. Imagine a virus so deadly it wipes out 98% of humanity, forcing the survivors to live underground like worms, while the surface becomes the kingdom of wild animals. This isn't some pandemic conspiracy theory, it's actually the haunting premise of 12 Monkeys, 1995, where the Kalavirus almost wipes out human beings from the face of the earth. And guess what? We're about to deep dive into the Kalavirus, with time travel, paradoxes, and one crazy Brad Pitt to keep us company. So let's get right into it. This is going to be one viral episode you won't forget, pun intended. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Kalavirus Explored. 5 billion people will die from a deadly virus in 1997. The survivors will abandon the surface of the planet. Once again, the animals will rule the world. Excerpts from an interview with a clinically diagnosed paranoid schizophrenic. April 12, 1990. Baltimore County Hospital. That's how the film 12 Monkeys opens. Chilling, right? Let's quickly go over the premise and what happens in the film. But guys, don't forget your hazmat suits because things are about to turn deadly. So, it's 2035, and only 1% of the entire population of human beings remain. There's also this super advanced organization of scientists who have finally achieved time travel and have one goal: to try and stop or at least mitigate the virus spread by sending volunteers into the past. Even our main volunteer, James Cole, played by Bruce Willis, who's a convict and pretty much forced to volunteer for the mission in exchange for a pardon. Now, he was supposed to be sent to 1996, which is when the outbreak occurred, to collect intel and maybe a specimen for the scientists to study. However, he ended up in 1990. Come on, guys. Did you really think we'd perfect time travel by 2035? Naturally, Cole got himself into trouble and ended up at a psychiatric ward where he met Dr. Rayleigh, Madeline Stowe, and the crazy eco-anarchist Jeff Goins, played brilliantly by Brad Pitt. I mean, hey, the guy's got some serious acting chops. Cole naturally spews some virus time travel nonsense. Clearly, he's ahead of his time, that none of the doctors or psychiatrists buy, and talks about some recurrent dream he keeps having where he witnesses a violent shootout at an airport. So, of course, they call him crazy and lock him up. A bunch of time travel shenanigans happen where he disappears from the locked cell and returns to 2035, after which he's once again sent back to the past. This time, he briefly goes back to 1917, peak World War I, where he meets a fellow volunteer and gets shot in the leg. Finally, somehow, he manages to teleport to 1996. Don't ask me how, where he kidnaps Dr. Rayleigh and tries to hunt down the organization supposedly behind the virus, the Army of the 12 Monkeys. So, turns out Jeff Goins is the one who leads this org, and his father is actually a famous Nobel Prize-winning virologist. So you can already see the dots connecting. However, surprise! It wasn't the 12 Monkeys who were behind the virus leak. They were just a bunch of misunderstood animal liberators who freed all the animals from a zoo. The real culprit was Dr. Peters, who steals the virus from Goins' father's lab and heads across the world to unleash it. Cole and Rayleigh chase him to the airport, but it's too late. Cole is shot by officers and dies in front of Rayleigh. And that moment is exactly the one his younger self has been dreaming about. Time loop, anyone? Now, although Cole and Rayleigh are unable to stop Peters, not to worry, one of the scientists from the future is waiting for him on the plane he's boarded. Now that we have the story covered, what does the film tell us about the virus? Not a whole lot, actually. The movie doesn't even give the virus its cool name, Kalavirus, but we'll get to that later. So the film tells us that the virus originated in Goins' father's lab, where they work with animals. So it's pretty clear that the virus is man-made and not natural. We already know it's leaked by Dr. Peters, who steals the virus and intentionally releases it into crowded airports. His motive isn't world domination, it's eco-terrorism. In his twisted philosophy, humanity's extinction is nature's cure. Now in the entire film, there's one scene where we actually get to see the virus vials up close. It's odorless, colorless, and implied to be airborne. And clearly, it's strong. Much more than strong, actually. It's the literal Grim Reaper. That's all for the film. But what about the TV series? Yep, There's a show called 12 Monkeys released back in 2015, and that's where the virus got its name from, Kalavirus, aka M510, and it's still just as terrifying. Now, there are some key differences between the film and the show that we're about to cover. First off, the film is set in 2035, whereas the show is in 2043, and while Cole in the film goes back to 1996, in the show, he goes back to 2015. Then the origin of the virus in the film is obscure and somewhat mysterious. All we know is that it originated in Goins' lab. However, in the show, the virus was obtained from a preserved corpse, that of Olivia Kirshner, which remained in the Himalayas from 1894 to the mid-1980s. It became known as the Annapurna remains and was purchased by Leland Goins when he heard that it contained a virus. Naturally, like all these big companies, they too started messing with things they really shouldn't have been messing with. They tried to engineer the virus and succeed with the help of none other than Oliver Peters. Next, the movie doesn't really go into the effects or symptomatology of the virus, keeping it shrouded in mystery. However, the TV series dives deeper. We finally find out that the virus is of course highly contagious and spreads both by air and direct contact with the infected. It has a whole bunch of symptoms: cough, fever, chills, aches, headache, fatigue, nausea, breathing difficulties, respiratory arrest, internal bleeding, and organ failure. So if you weren't scared before, you definitely should be now. In the TV show, they also have a bunch of strains of the virus since Peters is forced to recreate it several times. To be precise, there are exactly 4 strains. The first one was the one in 2016 and killed around 7 billion people. Imagine that. Only around 2% of the population was immune to the virus. As if that wasn't enough, the second strain in 2033 killed more than half of the survivors of the first strain. Then came the third strain in 2037, which killed a quarter of those who survived the second strain. The math is no longer mathing, guys. The virus is killing in fractions. Lastly, the fourth strain in 2040 killed 35% of those who survived the third strain. All the sci-fi geeks out there, do the calculations and let us know how many survived in the comments down below. The movie and show also differ somewhat in how convoluted their plot is as well as the ending. As if the original plot could get any more elaborate, the show gives us way more timelines, back and forth, paradoxes, as well as a bunch of new characters such as Jennifer Goins. While the film keeps the ending a little more open for discussion, where the virus has been partially released but the spread mitigated by one of the future scientists who time travels to the past as insurance, the TV show takes a different route. In the show, our ragtag team of heroes managed to delay the virus outbreak at least till 2018 by burning the entirety of the virus supplies. So now that we have covered both the film as well as the TV show, let's dissect some themes, symbolism, and theories we have come up with. For those of you who didn't know, Kalavirus is actually a very well thought out name. Kala in Hindu philosophy is a Sanskrit word meaning time, destiny, or fate. It's the force that governs the universe right from creation to destruction, affecting both individuals as well as the grand cosmos. Seems quite apt, right? The whole virus and the premise of both the film and the show is about time, destiny, and inevitability. Everyone is racing against time to stop fate from unraveling and try to rewrite destiny. As fans point out, there is no choice, there is no free will. It's all simply an illusion of control. The film's climax perfectly captures this chilling paradox. Cole's childhood memory of witnessing a man's death at an airport was, in fact, his own, which means that time travel doesn't change destiny, it actually fulfills it. The Kalavirus, therefore, is locked in a loop. It always happened, and it always will. And the survivors' desperate hope for a cure may be as futile as resisting time itself. In fact, Cole's mission isn't to stop the outbreak, but to ensure future scientists can study the original strain for research. So, to some extent, instead of preventing the apocalypse, the survivors have accepted it as destiny. Their only hope is adaptation, not prevention. The Kalavirus is here not just as a pathogen, it's fate itself, and it destroys whole civilizations, reshaping an entire planet. The word Kala also means black, which reminds me of the Black Plague, but far, far deadlier. Another fun detail is that Kala often refers to the Hindu god of death and justice, Yama, bringing about an inevitable end to all things. That pretty much sums up the virus in one sentence, am I right? We get death, but what about justice? So, here's my take on it. The virus is more than just a pathogen. Rather, it's a mirror of human self-destruction. It's a reminder that we humans don't need aliens or asteroids or even supernatural forces. Our obsession, greed, recklessness, and disillusionment are enough to doom us for eternity. In fact, the twisted sense of justice comes in during the post-apocalyptic era, where animals thrive above land, as humans squirm in tunnels underground. The very nature that we humans enslave and destroy thrives in our absence. I'd call that justice. Wouldn't you? Giraffes walk across highways. Lions wander through empty streets. The world moves on without us. The Kalavirus becomes an almost poetic reminder. Humanity is not invincible, and its greatest threat may come from within. The virus and the film premise also have an important and relevant message. Don't mess with nature and biology. It highlights the present environmental concerns and presents an apocalyptic world to maybe shake us up. It's high time we open our eyes and maybe be a little more like Jeff Goins. Definitely not advocating for guerrilla methods, though. Marvelous verdict. So there you go. Kalavirus. 12 Monkeys movieverse, TVverse, theories, differences, and a whole lot of talk about fate and destiny. It isn't just a fictional disease, but rather a terrifying metaphor. It shows us how fragile our systems are, how a single person can pretty much end civilization, and how powerless humanity may be in the face of its own choices. And maybe that's exactly why Kalavirus fills us with dread. Because who knows? Someday it won't be a far-fetched fantasy, but a reality we all have to reckon with. Okay, let's not scare you any further and leave it at that. If you vibe with sci-fi apocalyptic stories, time machines, or just viruses that kill 98% of people, I hope that's not your vibe. Let us know in the comments which other such films you want us to explore. Maybe next time. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back soon, maybe from the future.